Good morning, Ms. Fountain. Thank you so much for for meeting with me briefly. I wanted to meet with you today to talk briefly about your first eighth grade class fall and winter scores in close reading in their reading. One of the issues that I think in our previous discussion that we discussed about strategies and skills was in having your students work with close reading and some specific lessons to work with close reading. As you can see here, many of your students made specific gains in their previous reading assessments, but we still have some work to do with some reluctant readers and some of our readers who are scoring in the middle of the road. So to help assist with some of their scores, your students' scores in reading, I wanted to suggest a lesson on close reading. In close readings, the one of the objectives is to have your students, according to the state course of study in our um, Common Core standards, is to cite textual evidence that most strongly supports an analysis of what the text says explicitly and and to have students analyze how differences in their points of view of the characters are written and discussed and seen. We also want to write them to be able to write arguments to support their claims with clear reasons and relevant evidence in their writing. So to help with that, I thought a lesson in soapstone development, a soapstone plan that you will see in live action in an upcoming laying the foundation lesson might be helpful. Soapstone stands for subject, occasion, audience, purpose, and speaker. And I chose Bargain by A.B. Guthrie Jr. because it did not directly speak to a common text, a Western text that your student population may just pick up and read. And these are pieces that your students can annotate and directly write on for their writing purposes, also with a chart to help them identify personification, similes, metaphor, symbolism, foreshadowing, dialect, theme, and characterization. And also, it's very short, it's not a long lesson, but your main goal is to get your students in this soapstone method to identify the subject, to identify the occasion of why they are writing and what that means in context. What is this story about? How does, even though it's about a Western, how does it affect how does it relate to my daily life? This story also comes with a letter that may be more beneficial to students to explain to them why you chose this story, because you may not choose a Western for your more urban students who don't pick up Westerns to either watch on television or read about in their everyday lives. So the cultural differences here will be very implicit and explicit for the students so that they can get a firm grasp on why they are reading this piece of text. Do you have any questions so far?
I like the idea of blending in these populations that these magazines give a chance to really think critically as they read about the connections they make, which would add to more in-depth writing, but also helping them focus in. So yeah, I like this.
Excellent. So at our next meeting, after your assessment and after your questioning and conferencing with your students, our next steps will be to let's sit down and have a discussion about how this instructional method, this strategy worked with that particular group of students, how successful it was, and what are the next things that we need to move forward to help your students be more successful so that when they are presented with a similar piece of text for the next assessment, Scantron assessment, they'll be prepared for it. So thank you so much for your time today, and I really appreciate it.
And I look forward to doing this.